a podcast hosted by Jody Tree, Joe on the mic, Leader Talk. All right, guys, we are on our next episode, and I'm so happy to have on Gary Martinez. He is a personal fitness trainer, autism author, and a digital course creator. Gary's number one priority away from work is spending time with his family, which is awesome, and takes pride in being an active parent who dedicates his life to them. Gary's mission is to help special needs parents who run low on energy and make money. He is an author of Living Life Through Their Eyes. His educational background includes, but is not limited to, Everest College Massage Diploma, Intellitec Medical Institute Associate's Degree, a personal fitness, NSCA Certified Personal Trainer, Performance Therapy Academy Levels 1 and 2, Achieve Systems Licensed Partner, a Silver Sneakers Certificates in Classic Yoga, and much, much more. Gary loves living in Colorado Springs in the beautiful state of Colorado. Hey, Gary, welcome. I'm so glad you're on. And you know what? I used to live in Colorado Springs. We were in Fort Carson for a little bit. So how did you get to Colorado Springs, by the way?
Oh, so by the way, my dad was in the Air Force. So we were stationed there the first time, and then we went overseas for a little while, and then we came back, and he actually retired in the Springs. So
awesome. Man. We loved going, when we were living there, we loved going up to Pikes Peak and Helen Hunt Falls. That was a beautiful, beautiful place. So tell us a little bit of something about your background in autism and what inspired you to write Living Life Through Their Eyes.
Okay, yeah, thank you for asking that question. It was because when we were diagnosed at the time, which is about 8 years ago now, I didn't know what that word was. Like, okay, what is autism? What are these other labels that they're telling us that we are also? So I was a complete novice. And, the hardest thing as a parent for me is not knowing how to help your child.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to do was I didn't want parents to be in panic mode like I was in those beginning stages. So I wanted to write a book to kind of like compress a lot of information that I thought would be very helpful to other parents if they're just being diagnosed as well. So it can kind of give them a lot of like self-education, so you can come up to speed a little quicker and kind of understand and know what's going on with your child in their life and how you can start to help them out. So that was my reason for authoring the book and putting in some contributors that are health professionals that have been in our life and our journey to help it make it a more fluid day for my daughter. So that's the reason right there.
Wow, and that's amazing. And we were talking earlier in the green room about the importance of this, and everybody knows that this is a leadership podcast. And I was so happy to hear your story through some other folks, John Rankin and Kyle Devine, that you were taking charge in a leadership role with the autism that the going through with the autism experience with your family. So if there's any like one or two tips that you can give parents that have just got that diagnosis that their child has autism, some autism spectrum, what would be, I guess, one or two things that you can give them a tip on?
That you really got to have a lot of patience with all this, because you know every day is going to be different, and um, it's a journey. So you have to really have a lot of patience. That's number one thing I would say. You got to have a lot of patience, because with patience, it's going to help carry you each day on a daily basis to be there for your child and really give them the true support that they need, because they need you and they need that bond that you're going to create with them. Um, I would say is don't feel that you're all alone, because that's a lot of times that's what happens to us, special need parents. So you want to get into, if you're on social media, look in your city, look in your area for support groups. And you can do that on social media if you're on there. And if you're not, that's okay. Go to Mr. Google, type up, yeah, yeah, right, and type and look for some, support groups in your area. That's what I did, and you're not alone. What you find out is you have a lot in common with other parents, and when you have a lot of common and you're in the arena with those people that are also with you, you're going to get a lot of support that you never thought was possible, and you're going to make maybe one new friend, or you might make more than one friend, and there you go. You have support. You'll meet people who have already been through what you're going through, and you can find out a lot of things, and you'll be a lot more confident and feel a lot better about yourself. And when you do that, then you can be a better value to your child, and that's the win-win right there. It's on both sides, both sides.
Mhm. And I appreciate that because a lot of times, and I'm just speaking from my own experience as well, is like with anything that goes on in life. Let's say you lost a job, or your boss just jumped on your case for some sort of reason that you messed up. A lot of times people go into that little closet of, oh, this is only happening to me, and no one can understand, and that to a point, everybody's situation is a little bit unique. But in some cases, in most cases, people have gone through something similar so they can empathize. And that's why I like you mentioning getting into groups. And what about, do you have a Facebook group that you talk about these things, or give advice on?
I do have a private group for autism, and people can go to. It's actually on Facebook. It's called Autism Unified, and you can just you can. The best thing to do, honestly, is if you go to that group, send a private message to me, uh, because it's going to go directly to me, or even better yet, to backtrack, is just go to my personal page on Facebook. Gary Martinez Jr. Send me a private message, and I think, I'm not totally sure, but if you can, after you do that, go on my news feed, and just on any post of mine, just put send a message. That way I can see that and I can get to it sooner if I'm not checking my messages, like so many times throughout the day. So that'll be probably the easiest and the best bet right there.
Mm. And I appreciate that, and I want to make sure that they get of that resource, because I've seen some of your videos on your personal page, and I was like, man, I saw your heart for the people that have children that are autistic, and I want to make sure that resource goes out there. Now, also, we talked earlier. I would like for you, if you can, to talk to those people that might know someone that has special needs children, but they don't really know how to navigate, trying to support their friend, or to talk to them in a way that is not like oh, there's something wrong with that family, but in a way that's like, they're a family just like any other family. And how can I support them without feeling a little bit awkward? You know?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question right there. Um, I think you just have to be open and talk to your friend or whoever that person is, and just say, hey, I really want to, connect with your child, but I really don't know how to. Can you please tell me some of the likes that they have? What are their favorite things? What are their favorite toys? What are their favorite movies? How can I peel that layer and gain that trust, and start that slow engagement process with them, because I really want to be involved in their life, but I really don't know how. Or can you just offer me some basic information, like what is my step one? What's my homework? Because I'm committed to do this, and just I think that's a really good step right there, is to start like really small, really simple, like one step or a question, and then move on to the next one. Really quickly, it's kind of what happened to my son, where My son lives, because you lived in Colorado, he lives in Thornton, Colorado, which is about an hour and a half away, hour and a half
Yeah.
away. My daughter with autism, she lives here in town, Colorado Springs. So when I get my son for parenting time, he didn't get to see his sister for a while, but now they are. And he wanted to know because he has a big heart, he's a caring, and
Mm.
he's a loving person. So he's already steps ahead of me, and I love it. So anyhow, he asked me that question, like, Dad, I really want to play with my sister Monica, but I don't know how. How can I do that? And I said, okay, Christian, here's what you need to do, buddy. Watch me, watch how we play. And when you're ready, you can jump in. And like quickly in our world, like one thing for my daughter in our world is she likes Disney movies. And of course, it's the princess ones, right? There's Frozen, there's Alice in Wonderland, and so on. So he just had to watch me kind of what we call role play.
Mm.
We kind of repeat scenes in the movie in a sensory anchor, which means throughout the day, she may go over those scenes throughout the day because for her, it's a therapeutic way to help her calm down and like organize herself because it makes her feel good in this world. So when he started to master that and he jump
Mm.
in and he'll play characters and we usually try to our best to talk like the characters and kind of mimic it. And then it became fun, but it took some work in the beginning. And my daughter had to trust she had to trust her own brother that he would jump in and respect playing the part. So that's one of the things right there that was a icebreaker step to enter the world and to impact into now best buds.
Mm. Oh man, that's super awesome. And that's a good point for any leader being in a situation. And he took a lead with his heart to say, you know what, I want to be involved. And I guess that's just like with anybody. I would say, if you really want to get involved and you don't know, this is like in the army. It says, if you don't know, you better ask somebody.
Hmm.
And I guess the most respectful thing to do, like you said, is to be upfront and just ask. And I think, would you say as a parent of an autism child, I guess, how would you want somebody to approach you in asking that? What would be like a good way to say, hey man, how can I be involved here and not uh, be a burden or trigger something in some sort of shape or fashion?
Yeah, just taking that leap, just taking that step, just to ask me a question like that. I can pretty much, I can sense it now because it's been so many years. So when I see someone approach and I can feel with my gut feeling in my energy that someone wants to be our friend and they want to know how, then our have a little conversation with them, and that's truly what our kids need is like the more support you have, the better. And really quickly, not to go off subject, but this is interesting as far as making friends, new friends,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So going back, taking you with me to elementary school, our second one, by the way. We were at the playground one day, and there were some kids making fun of my daughter's voice at
Mm-hmm.
the time, and she was nonverbal to start, but eventually we can talk now and all that stuff. So she's a talkaholic. She's really cool to be around. So, but back then, you can really hear that her voice didn't match her age, and I
Mm.
heard kids making fun of her. Instead of letting my emotions get the best of me, I walked over to them and I told myself, I'm going to find an icebreaker move, turn them into our friends. Let's go from bully to friends. And I asked them, like, I looked at one of their shirts and I was like, hey, that's your team right there, huh? And like, yeah, I forgot if it was a hockey team. I'm not sure. But
Mm.
anyhow, I was like, when you're at a game, have you ever been to one of their games? And they said, yeah, I've been to their games. And, so when they score whatever or they won a game, what are you doing during that time? Are you cheering them on? Are you, or what? And they're like, yeah, I'm screaming and shouting and, they scored and all that. I said, okay, cool. The next day, how does your voice sound? It feels like I lost my voice. And I was like, yeah,
Mm.
right. I was like, so, you see my daughter right there. I heard what you were saying, but you know what? She couldn't talk for a long time and it wasn't her fault. So she used to scream and yell because she couldn't express herself. And that's why her voice sounds like that. And when they heard that, and I talked to them at their level, and I was, approachable, they flipped it around. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that. How can we help her? What's her name?" Like, her name's Monica. And so we turned, that
Mm,
story right there. We turned a bully situation that happens a lot because I've seen it, and we turn it into a friendship situation where how can we help Monica? And it's like, well, if you see her not having a great day, tell her to make sure you swing during recess time, or make sure you swing, because that's something that helps her. So that's just a little quick nugget right there of info.
mm. And that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Uh, because right now, we got a lot of people that don't understand, what to do, maybe how to approach somebody. And I think that's a good life lesson too. Like if we don't understand something, or we see somebody's behavior not conducive to what we would like, to maybe approach them and be a voice of education instead of another voice of putting down. Because that bully, if you would approach that bully in a wrong way, it would have escalated,
Right.
and there would have been no room to learn and to have empathy to say, oh man, and they learned on their own, oh man, this is not good what I'm doing. Like you said, it switched the situation into how can I help? I think that's a
Right.
valuable lesson. That's like gold right there. If we wanted to end the podcast, we can end it right there. But but we have more stuff to talk about. So you talked about how people can approach you guys to ask, how can we help? So a friend of a loved one can be more supportive. Is there any other tips that you can, I guess, give our audience to say, how can I support a friend or a family member that might be having to raise a autistic child?
Well, you can do a little self-education for yourself. I mean, honestly, that's what I did in the beginning stages. I didn't know anything about anything, and I was like, so I turn on the switch, and I turn on my athlete switch. Um, and I've played sports in the past, but I was like, now my sport is being competitive to help my daughter out with her life. So my piece of advice in the beginning, what I want to share for what people can do for their homework is to, research. You can go to Mr. Amazon, and you can type autism, or if they know that the child may also have something different like sensory processing disorder, just there's different things out there. You can type one of those two and just look and read reviews, and find a book that resonates with you, that maybe you like how the presentation is, and get a book that you like right there, and start the learning process right there. Because when you learn something new, and then you got it down, you build some confidence, and you're going to feel better about connecting with that person. And that's one of the things I had to do. So I think it really helped me out. So that's what I would encourage somebody else to do also.
Now, you're a parent uh, of a special needs child. So how would you tell a parent that might approach you that is not being very, very nice? And I'm pretty sure you've encountered that. What would be, I guess, the best way you can tell other parents that if somebody approaches you in a negative way, how how should they react, or as best as you can, not besides wanting to smack them in the face. I mean, what would you say is the best way to react? I know we talked about bullying, but
Yep.
how would you help them out?
Um, yeah, so I've been through that. And you know, you can't control how somebody acts, but you can control how you act. So I would always do what I've done before, and that's to have posture. And having posture is, I can't control how they're acting, but I could approach it, in a positive manner, and just say, hey, you know what, I'm really sorry, you feel that way about XX or whatever, but this is who we are. And one reason why we did this, maybe you saw it, is here's the reason. And I'll just give them like a simple explanation. And I don't know, I will probably find again, like the story with the bully, I'll probably find something that I can talk to them about that kind of hits home for them, and then kind of give my story, because now I would share something like that, and see how they respond to it. You know, not everyone's going to be open, but at least you can make that attempt and just, you know, share some information and see if they are open to perhaps changing their mind and wanting to know to know what they can do to help, because sometimes that happens a lot. It's happened a lot. Some people are not, and you just have to move on. And a lot of people, for the most part, when they actually know, oh, you know, oh my gosh, I didn't know this, and then their ears, they get they get big, and they want to learn too, because most people want to help others. So
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
really having posture with everything.
Yeah. And I guess I guess you say you learned that through bumps and bruises along the way,
Absolutely.
and not overreacting. And that's it's not to say is overreacting to defend your child is wrong. It's just, like I said, how we approach it. So you mentioned something about therapies and sensory therapies, and I saw in one of your videos on your page, you talked about a sensory therapy where your child was rubbing up and down this little, like a little pillow.
Yep.
So what I mean, what kind of a tip is that you would give to a parent for sensory therapy? Because I'm not an expert. You know, I know I've
Right.
gone through that before, but
Yeah.
yeah, what I mean, what are some of the tips you would say to give uh, our listeners that are a part of some of your digital course creations?
Okay. So I'll give you like a example of me, and then I'll go into a tip about my daughter or kid with sensory. That way, let's see if this makes sense. So let's say I'm having a rough day,
Hmm.
and I want to hear some music. And music to me, maybe for other people out there, I'm not sure, but maybe other people besides myself like to listen to music to feel better, to calm down, you know, to just kind of turn the way they're feeling, if it's you know, anger or something like that, because you can't be two. You can't be angry and you can't be happy at once. So if you can find what your tools are, then for me, one of them is music. And I'll give you some inside scoop. I'm a huge Def Leppard fan. So if I'm having a rough day, and if I put on any song by Def Leppard, and if I listen to songs of them throughout the day, it's going to change my spirit, and I'm going to be more positive. So I'm going to be happy. So that sequence pillow that you saw on the video, you know, you rub it and it turns a different color, but it's for my daughter Monica, it's a calming tool for her. It's a way for her to organize herself, her brain and her body to be more, and it's going to reduce a lot of anxiety or nervousness, whatever she's feeling. So that pillow right there, if she rubs on it, it can help take away some of those symptoms. So again, that's it's an anchor for her. It's an anchor throughout her day that she'll take with her. And if she's having a moment, but if she gives it a few rubs or whatever, it can take those moments down, or disappear. And it's what we say is, like, if your kid has sensory issues and they have autism or whatever it is, you want to take items with you. So it's like your little toolkit. You know, take the tools that we know they like. And for us, we're hand seekers. Like, my daughter's a hand seeker, so she always needs something for her hands. So that was
Hmm.
one tool that a hand seeker could possibly use, but everyone's different. Maybe somebody likes to squeeze a squishy ball, or a fidget spinner. Maybe that's something, you know, everyone's different. So you got to respect what they
Hmm.
like, and there's a reason behind it. And um, it's not to not please someone, it's to actually help them. And they're actually asking you for additional help by doing that activity. So you know, when they're doing something like that or whatever it is, they're actually asking for help. So if you know that piece of information right there, okay, they're asking for help, then you want to ask that caregiver, that parent, you know, I saw them doing this with their hands. What else can what's something that they like to do to help? And
Hmm.
that's powerful, because if you get one takeaway, you can make a world of difference. You can make a new friend,
Hmm.
and like, how cool is that?
Yeah, man, that is awesome.
Hmm.
And guys, these are just some of the tips that Gary has on his site, and I highly encourage it. Where can they find your book, Living Life Through Their Eyes?
Um, Amazon.
Amazon, Mr.
So the
Amazon.
title, you know what? I got to put the rest of the title on there. So it is, if you go to Amazon and you type "Living Life Through Their Eyes: Our Journey Together on the Autism Spectrum," it's right there. There's like a really cool picture of like an orange owl, I want to say. So it's about the big eyes of the owl is basically, looking through life through the lens of a person, a child with autism.
Mm.
And so that's what the picture on the front cover looks like, and that's where you
Oh,
can find it at.
that's super awesome. Now, is there any other things that you want to leave with my audience about your journey and what you guys have learned through raising up your children? Any last words that you might have?
Um, I'm gonna go back to just respect their needs when they're and just remember that it's a sign that they're asking for help, and that can be your homework call where, okay, I want to find out what that means if I don't know what it means, and look that up and see how I can help them. Um, let's see. So that would be one good tip right there. And it's just, you can just do that self-education part again, where you can kind of look up. I mean, a question you have, I mean, Google's going to tell you everything. Whatever question you have about autism or something like that, you type it, you see it, you pick out an article that catches your eyeballs, and start right there. Just start real slow. Just do one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Just build that muscle of repetition and consistency. And after that, when that happens, you're going to give yourself the next step. You're probably going to read something or learn something where you're going to be like, I want to know about that piece now, and go right there. And then just continue to be open with the parent or whoever it is you're trying to learn about the child, and just keep that up. You just got to
Mhm.
consistency with the learning. Be open, and those things go a long way.
All right. Hey guys, you've heard it from Gary himself. And before we go, I'm pausing right now. So the digital course creator, is your digital courses on your Facebook or is it on somewhere else?
Absolutely. So I just created a digital course, and what it is for is to help sensory kids with autism live extraordinary lives. So there's actually a five-step process to that, and I call it STARS. So because that's what they truly are. So the first step is um, the S part, and that stands for story talk. So we talked a little bit earlier about like kind of like role play with the Disney movies, how important that is. That can. So I go into more depth about what storytelling can do, and also
Mhm.
like language tone. Like your tone has to like match your kid, and I tell you why. It gets you far with your kid if you can match their tone and just get more in tune with what they're interested in. So that's like story talk in a nutshell. Um, let's see. A is okay. No, T. Sorry. So we did S. So T
Right.
is it's the food. It's the food journey. So food, nutrition is very, very important. It's a huge game changer in our life, and I really let people know a lot about food and how it helps, kids with autism, how we need so and so food to help us, gain it, have energy that we need throughout the day, how certain foods we kind of want to stay away from, how some foods can help reduce symptoms that you see in your kids, and here's the reason why. And so I drop a lot of nuggets about
Mm.
some valuable food information. uh, okay, A part is it's a bodywork system. So I show people a massage routine that I do with my daughter Monica, because a lot of our kids with sensory like to do activities, different kinds to help out their body, so their brain or body can work together in their days better. So they need like doses of that throughout the day. But sometimes you may not have that energy, and you, the parent or caregiver, may need to do a plan B and do like a massage routine to make sure that body is getting the touch and the feedback that it needs so it can be ready for the day. Um, okay, R is relax to recharge, which is, let's say our kids they just went through a meltdown or something like that, a meltdown. And a sensory meltdown is totally different than a regular tantrum. It's they can't control it. So in a nutshell, I give them some like techniques that help calm themselves down, whether it's because of that episode maybe happened or just that they need to relax because they have a lot of things going on in their, there's that piece in there. And the last S part, the second S, is sensory activities, which is basically, our way of getting specific type of exercises that we need throughout the day so we can enjoy the day, so we can focus better, so we can have more harmony in our life. So that's the program in a nutshell right there. If anyone is interested in more information, you can go to, just send me a personal email to my email account, which is it's Gary Martinez, GaryMart. Yep, I'm spelling my own name. Martinez 650 at gmail.com. If you're not on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, Gary Martinez Jr., click on Messenger, send me a little message, and I will be happy to share some more information about that program.
Awesome. Awesome information. Again, Gary, I am so glad that you're on to bring awareness about helping people out with children with special needs and how to approach them, how to love on them, and to not be afraid to get involved because it's a wonderful journey, and they're kids that want to have love just like any other inner child in this world today. And again, thank you for coming on. And guys, you know how to reach out to Gary. We're going to put his links on the podcast. So reach out to him, learn about the STARS methodology. And Gary, again, thank you for coming on. God bless you guys, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.